Guys, have you ever been confused about something and then you search and search, do research, look on the internet, read books, and you just can't get the complete answer? Well, this is one of those things that I'm about to talk about right now. And that is object oriented programming. Okay. Now, object-oriented programming. That is a pretty confusing subject to a lot of people first starting out. And it's really not that difficult if you could just get down these terms right here and what they mean. So that's what we're going to kind of go over a little bit today. This won't be long. It's just going to kind of give you a rundown. And we're not going to use any special syntax because most object-oriented languages are pretty similar with the use of these terms right here. Java, C++, Swift, Python, they're all kind of similar with these terms. So let's go over some of these terms right here. I would start out with framework, but I think it's best we start out with class. Alright, so let's go down here and I'll tell you what class is all about. A class you could think of as just a blueprint. Okay? It's just a blueprint. So let's use human class as an example. Okay? So what do humans have? Okay, humans have an eye color. Okay. Humans have hair color. Okay. Terrible typer. Okay. These would be what you would call properties. Okay. Just single descriptions of what something is, what defines something. Okay, so these would be what you would consider properties. So let me put those in yellow. Okay, there we go. I gotta make that better, easier to read. Okay. Anyway, all right. Now, humans also do things. Okay, what do humans do? Well, so we checked this one off pretty much. Okay, so properties, and you're probably starting to get a grip on class. Okay, so all this stuff is in the class. Now, so we went over properties. Now, humans do things. They do. They eat, sleep, work, number of different things. Okay, so let's write some of these down. And what these are going to be called, these actions, they're going to be called. Now here's another source of confusion right here. These two words, method and function. When I started out with a little C++, and C++ would use the word function. Then, start moving into Java, and then all of a sudden they start talking on Objective-C, they started calling them methods. So they're interchangeable, they're the exact same thing. Okay, it's just one program calls them methods, one program calls them functions. Alright, so anyway, I tend to call, I use them interchangeably. Okay, so humans do things, they do actions. And these actions are called methods or functions, whatever you want to call them, depending on whatever language you're using. If you're using Java, they're probably going to be called methods. If you're using C++, they're going to be called functions. Alright, so let's say humans eat. Okay, so we're going to create an eat function. Okay, now let's go into how this is set up. Okay, this is set up a little different than the properties. Properties are just going to be eye color, you know, and you don't have to define these right here all the time. You can define these later on in the program. But you can say eye color is, black. Their hair color is blonde, whatever. Okay. Alright, now. Humans eat. So, how do humans eat? This is what this would entail. Okay? This function here. And you can pass in certain things. So, this little area here is what you would put. This is what would input into your function. Okay, these properties that you like, we could put a food property in here. So likes pizza. Okay, that could be kind of a variable. Okay, so we can do that. Let's just do it like that. Okay, so food, pizza, the kind of food they like. Okay, anyway, so that would go in here. So if we just put food in there, so this would be what they call an argument, and this is going to take some kind of variable or some kind of input from somewhere else in the program. It could even take another method. Okay, now if we put in something like now the action that this inside here is the actual code that's going to run when this method is called. Okay, so we could say something like print line. Don't worry about the syntax because, you know, every program is going to have a different kind of syntax. So say print line likes pizza. Okay, or likes food. Okay, and whenever, so we say something like that. Okay, so whenever it sees that variable food, is going to substitute pizza in for it. Okay, so anyway, let's just say Sally. Okay, Sally likes food. Print line, and then I'll print out Sally likes food, or Sally likes pizza. Sorry. Okay, so this is what we would call a function or a method. Okay, all right. Now, framework. Okay. Now, framework is all framework is. All right. Let's define class. All class is a blueprint of different properties and methods. Okay, you have as many methods or functions. I'm gonna use functions because I like that better. Functions as you like in your class. Okay. Alright. Now what a framework is, and you notice that the closing bracket of the class is here, and the opening bracket of the class is here, and the closing bracket of the class is there. And then you got your properties, and then you got your function with the opening and closing brackets. Okay, so the class is just a blueprint which details the different properties and actions you want to give this class, in this case the human class. A framework now is just a bunch of classes in it. There's just a bunch of classes in a framework. You can have different frameworks, like Swift has a UI kit, which is a user interface kit. So it has just a bunch of properties bunch of classes with a bunch of properties and methods in there to help you design a user interface for your app. OpenGL, that's a framework, and that does a bunch of graphics. Just a bunch of classes, which encompasses a bunch of properties and methods or functions, whatever you want to call them, to help you build graphics. And there's just numerous. They're already pre-made to help you design, so you don't have to build your stuff from the ground up. Okay? Now, okay, so let's see. Now, what we want to do is, no, that's all what the framework is, okay? So we went over framework, we went over class, method, function, and property. Now, what's next is object, okay? Now, an object, that's a little bit trickier. It's not too bad, though. Now, an object is going to be something that, so let's say we have Sally, okay? So we're going to create an object named Sally, and she's going to be able to use everything from the human class. So Sally equals, and depends on what language for the syntax you're going to use. So Sally's going to equal human, okay? So now she is now an object, and now anytime we use the Sally object, we can say something like Sally dot eye color. So first off, I'm going to take this away. Oh crap! Edit, undo. There we go. I'm just going to do it like that. Okay, so now we can say something like Sally dot eye color equals blue. Okay, Sally dot eye color equals blue. Okay, and we can say something like Sally dot hair color equals black. Okay. So we have a Sally object that we can, maybe she's like a character in our video game or something. And, she's maybe the hero in the video game. And maybe there's a bad guy. Or maybe there's somebody else in the video game that interact with. So we can create another object. Remember I said this class is just a blueprint. So we can say Bob dot eye color equals green. Okay? I did that wrong. There we go. Alright. So Bob dot eye color equals green. And the same thing here. And we can go on. Let's see. Boom. Boom. Command V. And his hair color maybe blue. Bob's got blue hair. Anyway. Looks we gotta change that, don't we? To Bob. I just copied that. I guess it's not good programming practice to do a bunch of cut and paste, but it sure saves a lot of time. Okay, so you see we created two objects from the human class. Okay, and you can create as many objects as you like. Okay, so that kind of is a quick, summary of these very confusing terms that people tend to get confused about. Framework, class, method, function, object, property, and they all fall under this object-oriented programming. Okay, I hope this helps out a little bit if anybody's confused. If you got any tips or anything extra to add, just leave it in the comments below. Thanks a lot.